You distracted me.
Your hair distracted you.
Probably. I got balls.
Yay.
They're multiplying. One was broken. All right. Anyway, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Let's do this. Give it to me. Give it to me. Make me laugh. Slut.
All right. But so I have a really serious question for you, though.
Oh, you're really gonna bring the mood down.
Yeah. Sorry. Do you think AI will replace podcasters? And if so, will they be doing like a podcast about humans?
I hope it replaces you. I actually have a fun conversation then. You must have saw that coming.
Bastard.
You must have. There's no way. There's no way in your as tiny as your mind is. There's no way you thought of that and thought this ain't gonna backfire and get blow up my face. There's not a chance. It's not a chance.
Everything I do seems to backfire and blow up in my face.
It does. It does. It's a glorious life. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
Hello, welcome to Two Sides of the Pond. My name's Matthew, and over here is Dwayne. He's not as useless as I make out. He's more so. And today, we're talking about artificial intelligence. Because DeepSeek has been causing a bit of a storm. It's new to the arena.
Yes, it was founded last year. No, actually a little earlier, 2023 in China.
It's interesting that it's 2025 when it's really started to take off.
Well, it's kind of the first quarter of 2025.
Yeah, but it's like it's in the news now. We saw the stock price for NVIDIA just totally shit the bed. It's plummeted. Now, NVIDIA's interesting because NVIDIA obviously being one of the, highest. I don't know how I'm not financial person. I can't think of the right words right now. Dwayne, this is supposed to be you that brain farts, not me. What's going on? switch. Fuck it. Let's do over. So
it's a Freaky Friday here for us. Yeah,
it is. Even though it's Sunday. What the fuck?
But this comes out on Friday. Yay!
It does. I forgot that. Something's not working.
What's wrong with you today? Oh my God.
I don't know.
This is your topic. This is completely
my topic.
you. This is your arena. So
it is.
School me.
It is. So NVIDIA, their share price was one of the highest companies for share prices. If not the highest, I can't remember if they were the highest, but they're definitely up there. And if you look at the trend over time, it's been recently that it's just skyrocketed, right? And I read a very interesting article that over half of NVIDIA's employees are millionaires because they hold stock, right? That they have stock rights, as quite a lot of companies do. I'm running out of breath. Whew! This is exciting because it's my area and I know fuck all. And I'm excited. But yeah, so when DeepSeek came out, for whatever damn reason, it caused that to absolutely shit the bed. So I feel bad for all the employees.
Why do you think that is, though?
There's been a lot of investment right recently with the big names in the world. You know, you've got Microsoft investing heavily into OpenAI. Even Twitter or X, they have their thing. I can't remember what they call it, but they have their AI thing now because apparently you need to have help writing a tweet. Who knew? To be fair, I don't do tweets, so maybe it would help me to actually write some tweets because I don't use it. But everything now has AI built in some fashion, right? ChatGPT is probably the most popular AI tool out there in terms of general purpose AI. You have lots of specific AI tools. What do you think is the most popular AI tool?
Well, Google is very popular, right? And they have Gemini.
Yeah, but Gemini's still relatively new.
Everybody uses an Amazon device of some sort, and they have AI, and that's Claude.
Claude? What the fuck is Claude? I've never heard of Claude.
Claude is what they use for their AI technology.
Interesting.
But Amazon is actually looking to up their game now that DeepSeek AI is kind of coming into the picture, and people are shitting all over it because they don't think it's considered safe now.
So it is interesting in terms of how it works. So I don't know how much of this is true. There's so much information online.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to know what's true and what's not. And I
Right.
don't care enough to really find out. But there are some things that I have seen in articles that are quite interesting. So one of them apparently is the traditional AI tools that we have, like ChatGPT and its equivalents that have been around for quite a while now, because these have been around for a year or so, maybe longer. I can't remember how long it's been, but it's been a little while now. It's been a fair amount of time. Apparently, they need to have all of their information approved before it can spit it out as an answer, right? There's some sort of approval system in place, which is done by a human.
Mm-hmm.
So that can explain why sometimes its answers are a bit out of date, because it requires someone to actually go in and update the model and whatnot. It doesn't self-teach. It knows what it's been told to know. Yeah.
Right.
Whereas apparently DeepSeek, it uses other models to verify its knowledge to then teach itself, which is one
Yes.
of the reasons why it's able to save as much money as it has with its development. And away it goes.
Yes. So what DeepSeek seems to be doing is what we thought would happen with um, generative AI, where it's going to teach itself. And that's what everybody was all afraid of when this technology started. Like, oh, it's listening. Oh, it's going to become smarter than us, which is not
It's not
that
hard.
hard in this.
Yeah, it's not hard.
You know what I'm going to do right now, which I forgot to do before we started recording? I'm going to shut off my device right here because, yeah. Okay. So I have, because I am the American who overdoes things, you won't believe how many Amazon devices I have in my house. So,
Are you worried they're going to listen to the things that you say?
well, I'm going to say her name a lot, I'm sure, and she's just going to keep cutting in, and I'm just shutting off her speaker. Although some people think that doesn't really do anything anyway. But so I have a 3-bedroom, 1-floor situation. So I have one in my office, I have one in my dressing room, I have one in my kitchen, my living room, my laundry room,
Your dressing room, is
and my
that
bedroom.
is your dressing room basically a spare bedroom that you've turned into a dressing room? Is that what
Yes,
you've done?
yes.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. That's why you can't have guests over, because it's your dressing room.
It's preferred. So whenever I talk to her, I think it's very frustrating because it's not what we thought it was going to be. I can ask her questions, and I come from the generation of, I grew up without computers, but they kind of came in when I was 19, when like AOL came out.
Okay.
That I was
Back
about
some
19
years.
years old when that happened. So I am that generation where if we didn't learn and keep up as everybody else, we have fallen way behind on that.
So that's what happened to you then.
Yeah. That's
You
why I
fell way
am the way I
behind.
am. Yeah. So when
I love the way
I
you're just
try
telling me
to,
your history here.
yeah. So as I Google things and do searches on Google, I don't know the correct language to use to get the answers I'm looking for.
English would be preferred. What have you been typing
Well,
in? French?
I don't ask the right words, the right order
You
of
don't ask the
words.
right words.
Yeah. So when I'm talking to Alexa, as the day goes on, it kind of pisses me off because I always get more times than not, I get I don't know what you mean by that. Or she completely ignored me.
Yeah, to be fair,
Like
I
most
know her
people.
pain. Yeah, I get that with you. I do get that with you. The stuff that you come out
So
with
what
sometimes.
what I'm looking forward to is February 26th of this year, which had just come about. We are thinking that we will know if Amazon is going to be able to update what they have to be more communicative. They will cost $5 to $10 for it. They'll be able to do other things like set up restaurant reservations for you. They
Well, it's
will,
like
yeah.
Apple Intelligence then. It's similar
Yes,
to what
yes.
Apple's done, which has been a bit of a
Right.
flop as well, really. So I bought the latest iPhone so I could have Apple Intelligence. I have not yet used it. One of the things you had to do was change your language to American English. Obviously, my phone's in
Fucked you over. Yeah.
UK English. I mean, it's not a massive deal. I quite often write in American these days anyway. I've said this
Mm-hmm.
before because I do a lot of coding, and a lot of the frameworks, they are Americanized. And so because I like consistency, a bit of OCD with consistency, I now write my code using American English so that it matches the language used in the framework, right?
Now, do
And
you use ChatGPT? Because I know my kid did this in school when they went through programming coding classes, to ask them to code something for them, and
yeah.
was able to get a full-on code and did the work for them.
Yeah, so I do use ChatGPT every day of my
Every
life.
hour, every
I don't know if it's every
every
hour.
conversation we have had. Correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Well, let's go ahead and ask ChatGPT.
It's
Or
good though.
this is what
It's
they
good to
said.
have the opinion, because obviously we can debate and share our thoughts as much as we want about things, and this also is about the business side of things, the marketing, the SEO, it's stuff like that. And we're trying to do things that we don't really have the answers to. We're using our gut instinct and our feelings for things, but we don't really have any data driven results to back up the claims we're making. It's just things that we think might work or think have worked elsewhere. So it's
Mm-hmm.
handy in that respect to ask the question to ChatGPT. Again, it might give you total shite, and it has done, but it's another opinion, and it gets you thinking about other things, and you can ask
But
further questions.
yeah, but we don't ask it for opinions. We ask it for facts.
What's the
I don't
difference?
want to know what her opinion is on the number one song in 1977. I want to know factually what it was, not what she thinks it is.
Yes, that's fair enough, but I also do use it to ask for it to give me ideas and thoughts and stuff. Again, depends on how
Yeah,
you phrase things to it. But for
true.
example, when I've been coming down to the SEO for our podcasts and our reaction videos and shorts, I'm throwing things, I'm asking questions to ChatGPT saying, does this work? How does that work? Is this the better way? Or is that, it's doing
Mm-hmm.
comparisons for me, explaining this is good because of this. I've given it descriptions from our competitors' videos that have been
Mm-hmm.
dog shit as well. And even ChatGPT said this description is terrible. Yours is way better, and here are the reasons. These are the things, part of the algorithm that you're ticking. So it's stuff like that. Without it, the alternative is what we used to do, having to watch other videos on YouTube, or reading blog posts online, hoping that it's giving you good information. And
Mm-hmm.
again, there's no guarantee ChatGPT gives you good stuff. You've got to take it with a pinch of salt, and that's always been my advice: is don't take it as gospel, right? Read what it says, interrogate it, ask further questions and get it to elaborate, because you'll see sometimes it will contradict itself and trip up.
Yes.
And then it's
Yes.
important to call it out on that. And I do it quite aggressively. It's
You could,
hilarious.
but for ChatGPT, you could teach it things.
You can, but I have that turned off on my side. It's not allowed to learn from anything
You
that I
can't
give it.
correct it.
Not, I can in my conversation, but not for everybody else.
You could redirect
Because
her.
but yeah, because of the things that I share with it can sometimes be quite sensitive, because it's within the business, within the company.
Mm-hmm.
The subscription I have allows me to prevent it from learning from the things that I share with it. It can't use my information to feed the model. It's not allowed to.
Okay, because
But I can correct it from the conversation with me, and it will remember that, because it does remember everything we've spoken about. I did it the other day. I had to dig something out of one of the chat logs from ages ago. I think it's something to do with our podcast that I couldn't find. And so I asked it, I said, I recall having a conversation about this. Can you remind me what we discussed? And it said, yes, certainly. This is what we spoke about. And it rewrote it all out for me. So it does remember the conversations you have. But
but
yes,
that's because also you have a paid subscription, yes?
yes, I pay
All
for
right.
it. Yeah.
I do not have a paid subscription, and before you, I've never used it before. Now I'm using it quite often, believe it or not. And interestingly enough, I have asked it, I've done that weird thing that people do when they look things up online. Oh, let me Google um, who is Dwayne Anthony or whatever, just to see what it would say, what would come up.
And
I have
what's it
done that
said?
for this podcast. Well, I've done that on Chat GPT on this podcast. Who are the hosts of
Oh yeah, it
two
got you
sides of the
right, didn't
pie.
it?
It got
Yeah.
me correctly.
See,
You
I
was like,
couldn't
and
ask that
some
question.
unknown and
Some
some
unknown
unknown
Brit.
Brit.
Amazing. See, I couldn't ask that on my side because I talked to it about the podcast. It knows all about it, so
Hmm.
it would tell me the things that I've told it.
Right,
It
because you
wouldn't go out.
pay, but because you pay
No,
for it,
because
it
I've had
remembers
conversations with
that.
it already. Yeah,
But would that be something that would still remember for me? Because I have limited access,
it would
obviously.
for you. Yeah, any
So I'm only
conversation you have
allowed to
under it.
ask so many questions a day
Yeah, you're a bit
before having
limited,
to
but
pay.
anything under your account that you've spoken to it about, it will remember.
Okay.
All your conversations will be remembered underneath your account, regardless of what limitations you have. It will remember it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. So going back to DeepSeek AI compared to all of its competitors now, it's a much less expensive thing, but it's considered also a more dangerous
Yes.
technology. So how does it compare to your? We'll keep on chat. So they have a coder, which you can code on chat, correct?
Do you want to try that question again in normal English? So what are you trying to ask?
If you
What's
need
your
to
question?
code, if you
If I need
need
to
to code on
right
chat, you can. There are
in Chat
three
GPT,
areas.
right? Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
I trip over those letters a lot.
Evidently.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So it does its regular chat. Now, are you able to ask it multiple questions in one sentence or multiple pieces in one
Yeah.
second?
Yeah,
Right.
I've done it before. So I've got it to do presentations for me and technical
Mm-hmm.
documents. And I've also got to do user stories. So user stories are ticket tracking from an agile development software world for those that don't know. So
Okay.
basically the whole idea of user stories is you say, as a user, I want to be able to do this so that I can do that. Right. And then obviously you elaborate on the this and that. So I said to ChatGPT, we're creating this piece of software. These are the things it needs to do. Can you please break down this work into the thinnest possible user stories that make up the work to deliver the feature? And so it
Mm-hmm.
did. It broke it down. It gave me nine different things. And here's the stories. Here's the description. Here's your acceptance criteria. Blah 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 blah. And yeah,
Okay.
it does this. It's really handy with stuff like that because it gets you in the right zone. One of the things I really like about AI in general is it helps me to focus in on something, because it can do that initial piece of work, the initial thought, and I can read it. My mind is then focused on that result. Whereas if
Okay.
I got to try and get my mind onto that by default, it doesn't always work because my mind just sort of wanders elsewhere
And
and
then
gets
the other
distracted.
third component that they do with this would be vision,
Mm.
which that's something Chat GBT is doing now as well. Yeah.
Yes, there's a few things with ChatGPT. It's been able to do pictures for a while, and I've used that. So I've done that. So years and years ago, I started to write a novel, right, a nice
Yes.
book. And
It's pretty damn
I
good, actually, from what I've read.
oh yes, you did read bits, didn't you? I
Yes.
forgot about that. I completely
Yeah, and
forgot
you
about that.
showed me these pictures, so yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I got
Yes, impressive.
ChatGPT to generate some illustrative art, some concept art based on the chapter. I gave it the entire chapter and said, "Can you please create images on the key moments in this story and send them over?" And yeah, what it did was pretty impressive. Again, you can refine it further because you just sort of explain more to it and it'll go, okay, how about this? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was impressive. And the fact that, again, you can get AI to do that right off the bat, it's all royalty free, but those images belong to you. Again, it doesn't replace a illustrator and artist, but what you can then go to one and say, look, this is what AI thinks, and these are the bits I like from it based on the story that I've written. Can you sort of carry on down that avenue and do your magic? I
Mm-hmm.
just think that's really, really cool to have AI do the initial step, before it then goes to someone that you start paying, serious money to do it properly, right? To do it officially. The
Right.
same thing with proofreading. I did that as well. So we have a big issue in the industry, with media, films, and TV around continuity, right? So large parts of that I think is just the continuity. People on set are just utterly useless and need to be fired. But other bits to it come down to the script or the book where there are mistakes that don't get picked up. Now, AI is actually pretty damn good at recognizing that. You can throw things its way, like the entire book, and say, please pick out any issues. Are there continuity issues in there? Are there things that contradict? Are there issues? And it will do it. It'll point out and say, oh, well, you said something about this person over here, but then you changed it over here. And you go, oh, good spot. If you have a multi, hundreds of pages of some sort of novel, that's quite cool, right? Because again, humans do make mistakes.
Well,
So,
with great power comes great responsibility. And when
all right, Uncle Dwayne.
So when we're looking at all of this, we also have to remember it has been encroaching into everybody's everyday life. Like, not just computer nerds would be, or programmers would know about this technology and would have access to it and be able to use it on a daily basis for their living. Everybody can. A lowly person like myself can do this as well. And when you start giving it to people like myself, they have created full books just through AI. They have done images just
And
through
music
AI. So I
and
don't
stuff.
know, and music. So videos,
Hmm?
a lot of YouTube videos, there are full channels, all AI generated.
Yeah, AI
And they
commentary.
get
Yeah,
millions and millions and millions of views
yeah. And it
and
takes a
likes.
matter of
And
minutes for people behind the
yeah,
scenes to create it. Yeah, a
yes.
matter of minutes. It's frustrating
But
from
is
that point
that
of view.
not copyright infringement? You're stealing somebody's work somewhere. Somebody owns ChatGPT and the technology that it goes in. Like when we do a video or a podcast, there are buttons now that you have to click. Are there any AI pieces in this video?
Yeah,
You are responsible for disclosing that information.
yeah, yeah. So I mean,
So,
the things that AI give you, it belongs to you. You can use. Because I check this as well. Like with the concept art it generated, I said, "Does this now belong to me?" And he goes, "Yes, this is yours. It's unique to you. It's been generated, in real time for your stuff. It doesn't exist anywhere else. It is been created on the back of the story that I gave it. So you do own it. Obviously, when it does come to informational videos, which is why it has that checkbox to say that this is AI doing it, because you have to be clear that it is AI providing information. We have the same thing as well. So in the software world, we have Stack Overflow, which is basically a place where you post your questions and you get people to answer it. And that's where I used to go to find the information I needed to solve some sort of technical problem. The issue I always had with that is not one answer would ever be a proper answer. People always shit at providing answers and will quite often talk bollocks. It was a really awesome way of seeing how inexperienced the majority of software developers in the world actually are. They're hopeless. But if you look at enough answers, you can take bits from each to form an actual solution. And that's what I had to do to then get past.
so
Now,
go ahead. Sorry.
so after that, what I didn't do was then share my solution because I haven't got time for that. That knowledge that I now have acquired to do my job makes me a better developer, makes me more valuable because I know things that the public don't know. And this is the issue with the information online. The people that are really smart in the field don't share their knowledge for free. It's something you have to pay for to obtain. Now, when AI comes along and learns all these things because it's going through code bases, it's going through Stack Overflow to get answers, it can quite often give you the same rubbish answers because it only has access to the crap information online, not the stuff that the experts have.
Right.
But
So you tweak it and fine tune it to what you specifically need
yes,
to be able to use it for yourself. And you're basically
yes,
writing your own
yes.
textbook for yourself.
Kind of, yeah. And you do.
Okay.
So the way I develop is I have a lot of reusable code. I'm quite smart, I would say, not to blow my ass too much, but I'm quite smart in terms of how I structure my projects. I can reuse a lot of stuff. So when I come to a similar project that's got to do a similar thing, I already have that piece of code done.
Right.
Might need to tweak it a little bit, but it's there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I use AI for is I give it things that I need to do and get it to give me an example of code. It will write code as examples for me. I don't ever just grab the whole thing and run with it. I read through it and I take bits at a time, then and then write my own stuff around it. So it's always in written the way that I write code.
You
Follows
would
my
never
code
be able
standards.
to be accused of plagiarism.
No.
Which is something colleges are actually talking about, and now
Colleges,
down
yeah,
to high
obviously
school.
but it's not an issue
It's
for me.
plagiarism if you were to ask ChatGPT to do your homework, and that's
it's
what
no
you
different.
hand in.
Yeah, it's no different to when you used to do essays and stuff and just getting something from another website, copy and pasting that into your Docker, and then submitting it. You can't do that. Obviously, I can use whatever I want online for the work I'm doing. I'm not in education, so no one gives a shit. Doesn't matter. But because I have,
it's almost expected now, though, because you're not smart enough to know that these are the tools that are available to you to use them. So you're not valuable to the company anymore.
Yeah,
because you're not keeping up with everybody else. So you kind of have to now in the world of business.
Yeah, you do.
That's
things
my
move fast.
point on it. Yeah,
things move very, very fast. But to wrap up on DeepSeek, DeepSeek does seem to be a dangerous player. There's a lot of censorship that goes on in its model. The way that it learns seems to be strange as well. So I don't think it is as big a threat as it appeared to be when it first came onto the scene. The markets are bouncing back as a result because more and more things are sort of coming to light around this DeepSeek AI.
I don't know. That kind of seems like the opposite of what you said a couple of minutes ago.
What did I say a couple of minutes ago?
Well, all right. So just now you were saying how it's not that it is filtered now, right?
It's heavily censored DeepSeek.
Okay. Yeah. So my understanding with it, though, was that it's dangerous because it's not. Anybody can get crazy information. And then in turn, that information goes right back to China, where the original DeepSeek AI is from, and give them all of our personal information and the things that we're looking up. And because it'll tell us things about government information that we shouldn't know, because it's not as filtered as what I've seen. We just don't know enough about it. It is just so new.
Yeah, but that's not what I would class as censored. That when something censors something, that's not a positive thing ever. You don't want to have a tool censoring information for you because it's biased then. And it's biased to the state of China. It's protecting its information. You ask it some controversial question about the US, it will give you the answer. You ask a controversial question about China, for example, who is the person that stood in front of the tank? It will pretend that never happened. Its response will be, there's no such records of a thing ever happened in our history.
Okay.
That's bad because it's hiding things that have happened to try and make it seem better. So that's where it's dangerous. Plus, as with most things with China, we have the same thing with TikTok with the accusations. They harvest data. It probably does. So use with caution. I wouldn't advise anyone to use DeepSeek, really. If you want to use AI, stick to the likes of ChatGPT and other stuff, and be careful. Just be careful what you're doing. Be careful what you give it. Be careful with how you use it. Still engage your own brain cells, especially if you don't want to be replaced. But, it's not going to replace people. I think people need to adapt to it. They need to embrace this technology and incorporate it into how they do the work to then still be a real valuable person. That's all I've done. I do use it heavily. It does make my life easier. But at the same time, I have had horrendous days where it's walked me down a rabbit hole and it's been horseshit. It's because it almost gaslights you, right? It was almost a gaslighting piece of shit where it's so adamant that it is right and it refuses to accept that it's wrong. And it keeps telling you, oh, you got to do this. You got to do this. 2 days I spent trying to figure out the fucking thing. And because it was horseshitting me the entire time, the actual issue went unnoticed for 2 days. I eventually spotted the issue, and it was the smallest little problem. It was so dumb. So dumb. But because it was something that I hadn't done before, I was a lot more reliant on AI trying to give me guidance. And this particular thing had no documentation online either. It was a real tricky thing that hardly anyone knew how to do, or at least didn't share that knowledge online. And again, same with me. I know how to do this now. I know how to do this real low-level software thing. I'm not going to share it online. That lives up here. It makes me valuable. And that's the world we live in.
Oh,
You know?
we're so grateful that all that is you keep up here and doesn't come out your mouth. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, large chunks do. Unfiltered.
Woo!
Pew, pew.
And that said, if DeepSeek AI actually comes to your neck of the woods as an optional viable option for y'all, is that something you guys how we're just gonna have a drinking channel now? That's what I need. We need a drinking channel.
We should do that.
Let
Every
us know
time
in the
we
comments.
slip up, but where the fuck is my screen going? Carry on.
So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And let us know down below, if DeepSeek AI becomes a thing in your neck of the woods, are you going to trust it enough to give it a shot? Do you use AI now in the way that either Matthew uses it or the way I use it, either for work or for entertainment purposes only? So let us know down below. And we're going to continue this conversation for our Patreons. So subscribe and see y'all next time. Say bye, Matthew.
Bye for now. Da-da-da-da.